Commissioner to come forward on behalf of campground owners on the peninsula, also speaking to item 30. Thank
Morning.
you, Marcus.
Thank you very much for your time and allowing me to come and speak to you all. I won't keep you long. I think these guys from French Farm pretty much nailed it on the head. Their presentation is a little bit flashy than my one. I've just got some words. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Marcus from the Little River Campground, the gateway to Banks Peninsula, if you don't know where we are. I also represent Upper Banks Peninsula privately owned campgrounds. So that's the Akaroa Top 10, Onuku Farm Hostel plus O'Kane's Bay, which is a council run one. So I speak as a very small business. I'm a resident and member of the NZMCA, which is the Caravan Association. So thanks again for letting me come and speak. So a few things. Please remember that the councils are able to manage the freedom camping through the bylaw, which is the purpose of protecting an area, protecting the health and safety of the people who may visit that area, and protecting access to an area. But there are ways around restricting it. So we also support option 2, a full review of the bylaw. The reason I recommended a full consultation is that I felt the initial workshops and consultation to put the one in place now wasn't really done sufficiently, that there was no talk, or there was a general consensus that banning of non-self-contained vehicles throughout Christchurch and on Banks Peninsula in particular was very strong in all of the submissions, but that wasn't really taken into account, or was taken into account, but it's still allowed. So I think it was generally poorly carried out. For example, iwi and Runga weren't consulted sufficiently, if at all. So what we suggest is that a formal working party or interest group or task force, whatever you call it, is formed involving council and other stakeholders. So like the NZMCA, Canterbury Tourism, DOT, the council, ECAN, and accommodation and business providers. So we really nutted out, and I think with the problem for the last time is consultants came in, didn't have a good grasp of the situation on Banks Peninsula. So if the health stakeholders and a willingness and progressive nature of your staff, the timeframes which are looking at, the option is to have a full review by and in place by December this year is possible. So along with the previous example of the French Farm, we believe other reasons as a protected area. Banks Peninsula is the city's premium tourist attraction, one of them, and it has special environmental and cultural significance, therefore needs to be protected. There may be valid reasons to allow freedom camping in the city for short-term workers, but the peninsula is mostly a visitor attraction, and we'd like to attract and encourage visitors that can afford to be there. So the other reason for the health and safety, fire protection. One great danger of having unchecked freedom campers, especially on the peninsula again, is the fire risk and also potential wildlife smuggling, which does happen with jewel geckos and that sort of thing. So there have been fires started by freedom campers on the summit road, and this has the potential of being hugely disastrous for the city, for the landowners, and for the environment. Also beachfront sites, again the French Farm example is a good one, and it needs to be protected from contamination and for the safety of visitors. With the self-contained system, it is easy to comply with, so all you need is a bucket and a 20 litre container of water and not much else to be being self-contained. So that has to be looked at. Again, hopefully with, and my suggestion is to set up a task force with people from the NZMCA that have the knowledge of self-containment, getting them certified so people aren't, I suppose, trying to cheat the system. So, there's a few questions. Why can't there be a bylaw that allows ratepayers to freedom camp, but we touch visitors? So, for example, if you pay rates, you get a little sticker that says I can camp at O'Kane's Bay for free or whatever because I pay rates. What we want to do is take as much money off tourists as possible, I believe. That's why we're here, isn't it? The most probably more reliable source of income than dairy farming. I'll run through a few suggestions. So potentially you could initiate a camp fee system similar to DOC passes for certain sites. So fees are collected and used by the community to pay for monitoring and facilities. So excess profit could be used by that community as fundraisers for community barbecues and so forth. So again, I am specifically talking about Banks Peninsula, and one of the things that has come up with is we believe it needs to be treated differently than the city. So if you want to have freedom campers and people can't afford to stay, they can stay in a designated area in the red zone that is freedom camping. But for the Banks Peninsula, as a tourist destination and as an environmentally sensitive area, that it is restricted or banned for visitors, maybe not local. So I'm hoping that the CCC could be a leader in solutions addressing a problem that is only going to get worse with more visitor numbers expected. They could investigate the option of a total ban with a small fee payable for upkeep and protection and enhancement. So if you allowed freedom camping, you could say, sure, you can stay here for free, but but you've got to stay. You can pay $5 for the upkeep of the facilities or whatever. So there may be a legal way around saying you can stay for free, but you've got to pay for the showers and the toilets. So get some money to pay for those facilities. Because it comes down to, I think you will all realise that from feedback you may have seen in the media and social media, is that ratepayers are a little bit peeved, to say the least, that their rates are being used to subsidise a small minority to stay for free. So everyone has to pay rent or mortgages, and it's like, why are these ratepayers and mortgage people subsidising a small, or not that small amount? There's over 100 campers at times out of Enclosed Forward. So this is, I suppose, at the moment, what council has done is bumped the problem from the city and gone, great, we've sorted out these the not self-contained. That has just moved the problem over to Selwyn District. So I'm not sure if you're working with them in regards to that as well. So if Queenstown District can have an effective system, why can't Canterbury? And I'd just like to bring the ideas of having community involved with more so, like, I suppose, not self-governance, but management of their areas and bays. So for example, in Little Akaloa, they have a Parks Management Board. That's a small ground. That Parks Management Board collects the fee that pays for a local to mow the lawns, for the upkeep of those facilities and maybe the improvement of it. And that sort of system, I think, is worth investigating all over the peninsula, and that there are these small isolated communities, and for someone to come over and empty a rubbish bin, Delta or City Care, to come from Christchurch all the way over to Banks Peninsula to empty a few rubbish bins, mow a lawn, is not the best economics. So to give you that example, the monitoring that happened this year, that cost over $80,000 for a part-time, 20 hours a week person to armour guard to come and have a look at the various sites. So that breaks down over, that's 20 hours a week for 4 months. That breaks down to $20,000 a month, $5,000 a week. That's $250 an hour for armour guard to monitor that. So they would drive, they came over to Banks Peninsula once or twice a week, which is at least 2 hours travel, $500 for them just to drive from here over to French Farm and go. There's 40 campers here, take a box and drive off. So what we're saying is that why not employ locals, trained locals that can be used, like honorary fishing game wardens, and I just see that park rangers have been given monitoring or warrant hours. So that there is the possibility and have the community more involved. And this way, it also encourages visitors to be I suppose, welcomed by the community, by the area that they're in. They're going to meet locals, they're going to learn a little bit more about history and culture, whereas if you have places like French Farm and Watersport Park, they're all parked up there, they get to meet very few locals, and all they're doing is staying for free, and it's a bit of a game that the more money that they can save, the more that they can spend when they go to Thailand or Australia. Any questions?
No, that well, you come to the 10 minutes. So,
I have, okay.
Yeah, no, perfect.
I could go on and on.
Perfect timing, Marcus. So thank you very much for your presentation, and we're going to move straight on to the item now. So you're welcome to remain for the debate on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.